Chapter 60. King Liu Yang's Rebellion. Love Flower Valley. Gu Hai was busy filling in the gaps for the thorn formation. The Love Flower grandmother had sent someone to invite Huang Fu Chaoj to come, which had indeed saved Gu Hai to many things. And although the person had not yet been invited, it seemed that the chances were very high. As a reward, Gu Hai was obliged to make up the formation for the Love Flower Valley. The Thorns Formation, the east side of the sea, to be precise, will be a large area of the sea is also wrapped in. But Gu Hai found that the Thorns Formation in the land, surrounded by the roots of the earth, but in the sea water, is not rooted much, leaving a residual defect. It was here that Gu Hai quickly patched up the formation, and with the help of a group of love flower tree demons, Gu Hai was much faster. Long Wanqing had been following behind Gu Hai and was busy. Chu Chen stood on the floating island of Shaoyi Mountain Villa, but he coldly watched the distant Gu Hai mending the formation, not helping or speaking. Servant Master Chu, I don't know what important business you have in mind if you're still staying here. Master Liu Nian suddenly appeared behind Chu Chen. I haven't read all of the information left behind by the old hall masters. I'll read all of it and go look for clues. What's the matter? Grandmaster Liu Nian wants to drive me away. Chu Chen twisted his head and coldly looked at Master Liu Nian. Shaking his head, Grandmaster Liu Nian sighed slightly and said, Servant Chu, we are all very saddened by the death of the old hall master. But, after all, Long Wanqing is the new hall master, so please be polite when you speak to the hall master in the future. Are you educating me? I, Chu Chen, don't need you to teach me anything. Humph. Chu Chen let out a cold snort and flung his sleeves as he crossed into the Great Hall. Grandmaster Liu Nian looked at Chu Chen and frowned slightly. On the other hand, in the evening, with a loud bang from the seashore, boom, numerous large fogs generally emerged out of thin air. There, Gu Hai laughed out loud. Is it finally done? This fog is a formation. The surrounding tree people looked at the fog-shrouded sea in front of them in amazement. Gu Hai was about to explain, when suddenly a tree man ran over. Mr. Gu, Hallmaster Long, grandmother asked me to inform you that Huang Fu Chaoj is here, the tree man whispered. Oh, Gu Hai and Long Wanqing both had their eyes light up and looked at each other. The duo didn't talk too much, stepped and followed that tree man quickly towards the sky-high tree where Grandmother Loveflower resided. It wasn't long before the duo arrived at Grandmother Loveflower's tree cave. Grandmother said that you're here, and told you to go in by yourselves, a tree person whispered. Gu Hai and Long Wanqing nodded and stepped into the tree cave. Within the tree cave, Grandmother Loveflower was drinking tea with a middle-aged man. As Gu Hai and Long Wanqing stepped in, the two of them abruptly stopped in their hands and looked over. The middle-aged man was none other than the Huang Fu Chaoj that Gu Hai had seen not long ago. Gu Hai greets Mer Huang Fu. Gu Hai said with a slight salute. Huang Fu Chaoj, however, suddenly saw Long Wanqing and stared at her, his heart surging in general. For an instant, his eyes slightly red. Long Wanqing has met Mr. Huang Fu. Long Wanqing said with a slight salute. Good, good. The two of you are polite. My humble self, Huang Fu Chaoj, Huang Fu Chaoj, in a wooden manner, also gave a slight salute to Gu Hai and Long Wanqing. Huang Fu Chaoj is here. If you guys have any questions, just ask. Grandmother Loveflower sat on the side and sipped her tea and said, Many thanks, Grandmother, Long Wanqing said gratefully. Really like Xiaoyu. Huang Fu Chaoj's eyes were slightly red. Mr. Huang Fu, I'm very sorry for taking the liberty of inviting you here all these years. I've been searching for the cause of my mother's death, and thanks to Gu Hai's help, I was able to finally find out about you, so I've come to disturb you, Long Wanqing spoke. Oh, Huang Fu Chaoj looked at Gu Hai. We went to Silver Moon City first. Gu Hai checked a lot of information and found out that my mother's closest friends in her lifetime. There were you and He Kong, but after my mother died, you guys didn't come to pay your respects, so you chased after He Kong. And He Kong said your name before he died. Long Wanqing explained. That goon He Kong died. Huang Fu Chaoj was slightly stunned. Yes, killed himself. Long Wanqing nodded. At that time, it was found out that the Silver Moon sees millions of zither figurines were originally escorted by the government towards the imperial capital, but they were intercepted halfway, and He Kong proceeded to commit suicide. Gu Hai added. Suicide? Ha ha ha. He should have died a long time ago. Killing himself at this time. HMPH. Huang Fu Chaoj let out a cold snort. Ma Huang Fu. How much do you know about my mother's death? Long Wanqing said eagerly. Your mother's death? Oh, it was King Lu Yong who killed her. Huang Fu Chaoj said in a deep voice. Huh. Long Wanqing's face changed. On the other hand, Gu Hai on the side was calm, as if he had already made a guess before. What Long Xiaoyu told me the last time she saw me. If anything happened to her, it was King Lu Yong who killed him. That's why I want to take revenge for Xiaoyu, Huang Fu Chaoj said, with a scowl on his face. King Lu Yong killed my mother. It can't be possible, right? Why, for the Earth Dragon Vein. But King Lu Yong has won himself. Long Wanqing was surprised. What for the Earth Dragon Vein? It's that King Lu Yong is going to raise an army to rebel. Back then, your mother was the one who discovered the traces and suffered from the lack of evidence, so she didn't know how to denounce him. But I didn't expect that King Lu Yong still found out. And King Lu Yong killed people, so that no one would denounce him, Huang Fu Chaoj said with a hateful voice. Rebellion? Why? What's the evidence? Long Wanqing was surprised. Evidence? Haha. How could there be evidence? If there was evidence, why would I need to tear up the alliance with the Great Jin Dynasty? Just send it directly to the Great Jin Dynasty's court, Huang Fu Chaoj said with a hateful voice. Rebellion? What do you mean? King Lu Yong is storing up his strength, just waiting for a day to explode and raise an army to rebel against the Great Jin Heavenly Dynasty. Gu Hai frowned. Not bad. I know he wants to rebel. He falsely accused me of collaborating with the enemy to rebel against Jin and led a huge army to try to suppress me. Ha ha ha. Huang Fu Chaoj laughed coldly. But that's not what we heard, that you tore up the alliance with Great Jin and allied with an imperial dynasty to fight against Great Jin together. Gu Hai said doubtfully. Joke. Ha ha ha. How could I ally with an imperial dynasty? It's true that there's an imperial dynasty next to my divine foothills imperial dynasty. However, if that imperial dynasty knew that King Lu Yong had rebelled, instead of helping me, they would support King Lu Yong in destroying divine foothills because they also want land. And if King Lu Yong had rebelled, they could have taken advantage of the water, and they could have counterattacked against the Dacian celestial dynasty. How could I possibly ally with them? Huang Fu Chaoj said in a cold voice. My mother was killed by King Lu Yong. That can't be possible. King Lu Yong rebelled. What guts does he have to rebel? You lied to me. You lied to me. It's not like you have any evidence. Long Wanqing was at a loss. Huang Fu Chaoj shook his head and said, I don't have any evidence, that's right. I don't even have any evidence of how Xiaoyu died. But I believe Xiaoyu. Everything she said, I believe. All I believe. Why didn't you go to pay homage to Xiaoyu? Can I still go? I'd rather avenge Xiaoyu's death on the front line. He Kong, that wimp, said he'd be more loyal than me. But in the end, what did he do? He's still a lackey of King Lu Yong. What about the millions of bronze men? Me, He Kong, and Xiaoyu found them together, and they're guarded by dragons. Wasn't that still King Lu Yang's heart in the wrong place? Gu Hai, you said that my mother was killed by King Lu Yong. Long Wanqing anxiously looked towards Gu Hai. Gu Hai was slightly silent for a while. Gu Hai naturally wouldn't listen to Huang Fu Chaoji's one-sided words. But, of the information Gu Hai possessed nowadays, the chances of Long Xiaoyu's death at the hands of King Lu Yong were the greatest. Gu Hai didn't bite the bullet, but fell into deep thought. No, it's not good. Grandma. Outside the Thorn Formation, it's surrounded by King Lu Yang's army. So many flying boats. So many armies. So many giant dragons. A tree person ran over with a steep shriek. What? Grandmother Loveflower's face changed. King Lu Yang's army has surrounded this place. Long Wanqing's face also changed. Huang Fu Chaoji, however, frowned and looked towards emotional flower grandmother. Was it the love flower grandmother who set herself up? No, it wasn't emotion flower grandmother. Huang Fu Chaoji quickly stepped out of the tree hole and looked at the sky with a frown. Outside the Thorn Great Formation, on top of a huge flying boat, there was a huge handsome chessboard with a big Lu character. In the surroundings, there were 100 flying boats, flying in the 4 directions of the Thorn's Grand Formation. And on top of the flying boats, there stood a large number of troops, each with a grimace as they looked at the Grand Formation in front of them. In the sky, there were hundreds of giant dragons flying around. Not only that, there were also thousands of scaly dragons flying behind the group of dragons, and thousands of hegemony on top of the beach in the Eastern Sea. Ong! The group of dragons roared up to the sky, and for a moment, dark clouds covered the sky and lightning flashed. Outside the Thorn's Grand Formation, an intense aura of solemnity surrounded the entire Thorn's Grand Formation. On top of the main flying boat, King Lu Yong sat on top of his throne, holding onto the armrests, coldly looking at the Thorn's Great Formation in front of him. Beside him stood Broken Army, Aoshun, and strong people dressed in all sorts of strange costumes, together with King Lu Yong coldly looking at the opposite Thorn Great Formation. Inside, King Lu Yong said indifferently. Broken Army nodded and said, "Yes, our spies reported that Huang Fu Chaoji is indeed inside. It's just as well that he's cowering in Divine Foothills City, but he actually came out on his own seeking death." King Lu Yong sneered. If there is a road in heaven, he didn't go. If there is no door in hell, he barged in. Huang Fu Chaoji is seeking his own death, Aoshun coldly said. It's for Long Wanqing, right? More than 10 days ago, when I heard the Broken Army say that Long Wanqing had come, I knew that Huang Fu Chaoji was not far from death. Really is an infatuation. Long Xiaoyu has been dead for how many years? And is still so infatuated. A daughter born to another man can also lure him out. Divine Foothills Dynasty. This king doesn't even know how he built it up. Humph. King Lu Yong coldly said. Your Highness, this Thorn Grand Formation is troublesome. The sturdiness is secondary, but its toxicity is troublesome. If we forcefully break the formation, the poison of the thorns will turn into poisonous smoke and injure the army. Broken Army said in a deep voice. Nothing troublesome. Those who block me will die. King Lu Yong coldly said. Broken Army, you're overthinking it. Thorn's Grand Formation. It's actually not troublesome. It has a fatal break. Aoshun laughed coldly. Oh. The eastern part of the Grand Formation, the place by the sea, is the weakest place of the Thorn's Grand Formation. Back then, the formation diagram of the old man who watched the chess for the Love Flower Valley just happened to be obtained by my dragon clan. I have a copy of it here as well. Aoshun sneered.